Welcome back. In this session, we are going to understand a replica set. Well, so in previous session, we have created pod, and this is the problem with the pod. So if pod will get crashed or get deleted, it gone. Yes. So like Docker container, so if Docker container get deleted or crash, means that's gone, right? There's no way to bring it back. Means there's no automatic way to bring it back, right? Similar in the previous session, when we have created the pod, if you go and delete the pod, it simply mean that pod is gone. And if you want to bring it back, then you have to manually go ahead and create it. But now you understand this is not way we can run our production application. So we need solution for that, and that what I have said in the previous session. So this is called self-healing, right? So how do we get this feature in the Kubernetes? For that, we are going to use a replica set. So that is the one thing. Another thing, so let's say if you are running, let's say 3 pods, and now you need 5 pod. How do you do that? Again, you can go ahead and manually you create additional 2 pod, right? So again, this is not the way we can run the production application. And again, this is the scaling part of it. We can help with help of a replica set. Well, now what is a replica set? A replica set is the Kubernetes object. You can also say the kind which used to maintain a stable set of replicated pods running within a cluster at a given time. So replica set is basically a object, or we know this is called kinds in terms of the Kubernetes, that ensures that n copies, okay, n number of pods and copies of pods are always running, no less, no more. Means if we will say our replica set, I need 3 pods, so replica set will make sure 3 pods are always running. So if XYZ reason any pod crashed or get deleted, replica set will go ahead and bring one more pod. So this is job of the replica set. How it works, I will explain in a moment, but now you understand why do we need the replica set. Well, now when we create the replica set, so replica set will try to maintain this n number of copies, right? And how it will do? So for that, we are going to do some configuration that I'm going to explain you in a moment. But behind the scene, there is a controller, and this is called replication controller. Yes, so please don't get confused. So here we are going to use a feature called replica set, but this replica set features we are going to define in this YML file, but behind the scene, how replica set maintain this n number of copies of the pod, or in our case, let's say 3 copies of this pod, because there is the controller. If you remember, I said there are many more controller in the Kubernetes. So some are inbuilt and some we can also create for our own. So one of them is a replication controller. So replication controller makes sure the number of replica set we define, so that number of pods is going to maintain. So again, replica set is little bit a new feature. If you go 4 years before, 5 years before, there was a replica controller, but now we have the upgraded version of it, is called a replica set. Well, now let's understand this. So to understand this, let's again create the project. Okay, so let's go in cube 8 labs. So I have already this here. Let's open the terminal and cd. Okay, I think ls, yes, we have the cube 8 labs here, right? So let me copy this whole piece of code. Okay, well, and now we are in the replica set, and here we are going to create this nginx replica set yml file. Now let's touch this and vi nginx and hit the enter, and then let me copy this code and paste this and save this. Now I'm going to explain you this. Okay, now let's go back to our code. So here we have, let's understand this. We already understood, okay, how we write a similar code for the pods. So everything you see, the API version, kinds, metadata all remain same with some additional fields. Now let's understand this. So here basically we have three things. So here we know what is kind. Kind is the replica set and it has its own metadata. Now in the replica set specifications, we have three fields. One is the replica, then we have the selector, then we have the template. So what a replica specification tells Kubernetes, I want three copies of pods. So here we are saying replicas 3. So we are saying I want three copies of the pod. Now where is the pod? Which pod? So that's where we have this selector. So this replica 3, this tell Kubernetes, I want three copies of the pod, this pod. Which pod? So that's where we have the selector. So selector basically match the label where app is nginx. So we need three copy of the pod. So please match the label where pods are running where label app is nginx. Now let's say if a pod got deleted, now you need to go and create the pod, right? So how it will create the pod? And for that we have here template. So templates defines what each pod should looks like. So this is same as we have created earlier, right? So earlier what we did when we created our pods, so this was our specification, right? If you go here and see, right, so this was the specification, right, to create our pod exactly, right? So this is the our specification for the pods, but now we are embedding this specification where in a template. So what is the template? So template is, we can say this is the blueprint for the container. So we are saying, so when please go ahead and use this template, and create this container, and within this template you see we have the metadata and the label. And what is label? Label is app, and that is going to tag as a nginx. Now try to combine all this together. So what this means? So replica 3 is telling Kubernetes, I want three copies of this pod. Which pod? Selector where match labels defined which pod this replica set is responsible for, right? So this is for the nginx, match the label where this is nginx. And here we are defining, when we are creating these containers, then we are saying here our label is the nginx, right? So for this container template, please maintain three copies of the pod. Well, now if any pods get deleted, then you will go ahead again use this template to create and bring another container. I hope you understood now. Now let's go ahead and create the replica set. It's very simple. You will go ahead and apply this and it will create the replica set for us. Okay. Now we will type kubectl get pods. Now we will see we have three pods are running. Now if you want to test it, of course we need to delete it, right? And for that we will run the command. Let me clear the screen. Let's pods, then kubectl delete pod, and then here we see we have the three pods, right? So we can delete any of these pods. So we are going to delete the pods, okay, which name is c2wjw, right? So let's delete this, and now let's get the pod again. Now we see this pod is not anymore, right? So this pod is not anymore. Now we have the new pods. So this was already there, this already there, this was there, this is again there, right? but it's created new pod here, right? Now this is the self-healing, right? And I have also set another feature. So let's say if you want to scale it, currently we have the 3 pods. Now say we need the 5 pod, right? So how we can do that? So we can go ahead and change the number of the replicas 3 to 5, and then this will create the 5 pods for us. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and open the our configuration, and let's go here and hit the enter and 5, and let's go ahead again apply. We need to apply this. Instead of typing, let me copy from here. Yes, now we see we have the 2 more pods are coming, right? And let's clear the screen and again type get pods kubectl get pods. Okay, now we see 5 pods are running. Well, so now what we see, so we understood self-healing feature of the pods using replica set, and again how to scale it. So we can go ahead and change the replicas, and it's going to increase the number of pods. Again, this more couple of commands we can run. So currently what you see here, we have this number of pods running, right? Now let's say if you want to delete it, so if you go ahead and try to delete these pods, right, then replica set will keep creating it, right? Then it's not possible to delete it. So better way to deleting this entire replica set, right? So again you can get this replica set details kubectl get rs short form replica set. Now we see we have the replica set nginx replica set, and let me copy this, and here desired number of pod is 5, currently is running 5, and out of that 5 is also ready, right? Now let's go ahead and change this to 10. Okay, just I wanted to show you the ready feature. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the 10 and save this. Okay, so again we can go ahead and run these commands. Okay, now we see okay 5 was running, again these are coming, right? Now if you go ahead and run this command, okay, maybe this is already now correct, so we took some more time, no problem. But now kubectl get rs. Now if you want to delete, then we can use kubectl delete rs, and we need to pass this name. Let me copy this and not mark, paste this. Okay, got deleted get pods. Okay, so we don't have any pods running, right? It's deleted everything. Well, so what we have understood here, so we have understood using replica set we are able to maintain the fixed number of the replica of our pods, and we also understood how to scale it. And well, now is that solve the problem? No. So in a production environment, people really don't use replica set. Now you say why? Yes, because here we are just getting the scaling feature and the self-healing, but there is many more problems need to be solved to running a production application, right? And one of them is the auto scaling, correct? Another is the updating your application. So let's say if you see the same example here, so currently we are running nginx 1.21.1 version, right? Now imagine if we need to upgrade the nginx. So what do? We can go ahead and update this, and then once we update this, then what replica set will do, it will go ahead and delete all previous parts and recreate it. What does it mean? When it will delete it and recreate it, then there will be the downtime. But in a real time production environment, we don't want that, right? So what we want? So we want the rolling update. So if you want to upgrade our application, redeploy our application, so we want the rolling update. Okay, or even if when we are doing the update something goes wrong, so we want to roll back and go back to the previous working version of the application. right? So this feature is not available in the replica set. So this is something we can solve with the deployment. So deployment is the, again, new object, new kinds that we use to run the production ready pods. So in next session we are going to understand this. Again, on top of that we will understand the auto scaling feature. Well, once again, I'm going to attach this whole guided lab in the resource section. So please go ahead, download it, practice it, and once you are ready, see you in the next session.